I'm Christina from The Turned Leg. I love to salvage, repurpose, and create and help others to do the same. This buffet behind me was a junkin' find, and if you watched the previous video, I saved it, but it had horrible veneer issues. So I showed you a video on how I removed the veneer to get it ready for paint. I'm pleased to say it is now painted, but I have to seal it. And the piece was painted in letterpress gray from DIY Paint, and I started to wet distress it. Wet distressing, all that means is you can take any old rag, get some water on it, and then you can rub back the paint to reveal the wood color or the paint color underneath. It's really simple, and right now I'm in Michigan and it's winter, so it's a lot easier to do indoors than to get all the sawdust if you were to distress it with a sander. Well, I distressed it and I really didn't like how it looked, so I repainted it. That's the advantage. If you wet distress too much, you can just paint over it. Now, I need to find a way to seal it, and I just got a brand new product, Sweet Pickins oil wax, and I want to try it out and see how it works. So I'm going to be using Sweet Pickins dark oil wax on this piece. Oil wax is an awesome sealer. It's very durable. The one thing you need to do before you get started is you want to make sure you tip over your oil wax and shake it really well, because a lot of the particles are going to accumulate underneath. We're going to see how this looks. I thought since I was giving it a try and it was a new product, I would take you along. So let's get started.
I like to have the tops of my furniture really smooth. I'm using 220 grit sandpaper, and then I'm cleaning up using a vacuum to reduce dust.
Once you've shaken your oil wax, you're going to need a container. Now, oil wax is kind of icky to wash. You have to use mineral spirits, and I don't have time for that. So I'm going to use a disposable cup to pour some oil wax in. You want to open your container, pour some in the bottom. I always recommend pour a little bit less than you think you'll need. You can always add more. And then you're also going to need, since washing is a pain, you're going to need a cheap brush, a chip brush, a foam brush, something you can use and then just throw away. So I have my chip brush.
When you're working in detail areas, it's a good idea to swirl your brush around to make sure you're getting into all the nooks and crannies. Because I was using a chip brush, you gotta watch out for loose hairs. This doesn't happen with the good brushes.
You're supposed to let your oil wax set for about 5 to 15 minutes. It looks really scary. It doesn't look gray anymore. I'm curious to see what it'll look like. Grab yourself a lint-free rag. It's always a good idea to have 2 of them. That way when you pull up most of the gunk with the first one, you can use the second one as kind of a finished polishing. Let's see what happens.
I love how the oil wax has darkened up the gray. I have to admit, I really didn't like the light color on this piece.
See the inside of this? It's kind of a mess. I've heard that oil wax also restores wood. So I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna paint on some dark oil wax and see what happens. Let's take a look. Trying new things is scary, and with this oil wax, I was really afraid that I had ruined this piece.
After my first coat of oil wax and wipe back, this is what it looked like.
So I waited a while and it kind of stayed like this. I think what happened was I didn't apply the coat thick enough. So I'm going to reapply another coat. I'm going to put it on a little heavier. I think I was applying it more like I would hemp oil, and it needs to be pretty thick when you put it on, but not drippy. Hopefully this works. You also want to apply it in long, smooth strokes. And I really wasn't doing that. I was trying to save product. Not needed. We want a nice finished result. I'm also going to make sure I let this set for the recommended 5 to 20 minutes. I think I'm going to wait 20 minutes to make sure I get even coverage.
While I was waiting for my oil wax to dry, I turned my attention to this little chalkboard in my kitchen. It just needed a little brightening up, and I thought the dark oil wax would be perfect.
Sigh of relief. So I know it's dark. I'm losing light today, but I'm wiping it. And I think I did a better job applying. So if you're applying oil wax, put it on a little thick, not like drippy, but like smooth, good coverage, like a heavy coat of paint.
To purchase any of the products that I'm using here today, you can shop my online store at shoptheturnedleg.com, or if you're local, you can shop my booth at Plaza Antiques and Collectibles Mall in Lincoln Park, Michigan.
I know you're dying to see how the piece turned out. But first, I want to share with you what I learned. Now remember, this was the first time I've ever used Sweet Pickins oil wax. And hindsight, I learned a lot. One of the things I learned, and I would recommend for you, is the first time you're using a product, whether it's top coat or anything, you should always use it with the same brand. So if you're using a top coat that's Sweet Pickins milk paint, like the oil wax, you should be putting it over Sweet Pickins milk paint at least the first time you try it, so you really find out how the product works the way it's intended. Of course, I didn't do that. I went over DIY paint, which is clay-based, and so I'm sure some of the issues I had was because it was going over another type of paint. The other problem was I started with dark wax first. If you know and have watched my videos about waxing, anytime you wax or you're new to waxing, I recommend you start with clear wax first, because dark wax can be a little tricky. Not horribly difficult, but a little tricky. So I think some of the other problems were because I started with dark. I also learned that you shouldn't just tip the container. You need to shake it really, really well. And I think that was a lot of the reason that I had a hard time with the first coat. I also don't think the first coat I was applying thick enough. I'm always trying to stretch the product and save it, but with oil wax, the first coat should not be dripping, but it should have really good coverage to make sure that it can soak into your product so you don't get the streakiness that I had. Overall, I really do like how this turned out, and the oil wax has amazing durability. With other paste wax, you have to reapply in like a couple of years, 5-6 years, as the shine kind of goes down. With this, it's one and done. It's also crazy durable. So that's a plus too. You want a surface really durable, check out Sweet Pickins oil wax. So I will continue to experiment with the oil wax and share my results with you. I think next time though, I'm going to try it over Sweet Pickins milk paint. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. It helps me to continue to grow my channel to help others to salvage, repurpose, and create. Now, let's take a look at the finished piece.